Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So I gotta say before I start with this topic, because I know it's been all the buzz in the space, the Modern Investor has done a really great video about this. He released it just this morning, the XRP-Killer. And so it's about this. Big banks announce fiat-pegged XRP-Killer crypto for settlements. I am also going to cover this topic and give my 2 cents. I have a few more points I wanted to discuss on this, but for reference, guys, if you want to watch this video, I have it linked in the description. The Modern Investor does a really great job on this. It's about 16 minutes long. It's the first 16-minute section of the video. I'm pretty much going to go over it as well in this video, so let's get going here. So what is happening is that big banks announce fiat-pegged XRP-Killer, dubbed the XRP-Killer in quotes, crypto for settlements. And so what is it? Banking giants in the US, Japan, and across Europe have created a consortium that will use cryptocurrency technology in cross-border transfers. The move also presents a direct competitor for Ripple's XRP token. Okay, now we've heard of crypto killers in the past and XRP killers in particular. Ultimately, what this is, though, is that a bunch of these banking conglomerates like MUFG and Sumitomo have led their counterparts in the US and Europe to establish Fnality International, that's F-N-A-L-I-T-Y International, based in London. Fnality will create a cross-border settlement framework among participating banks that will utilize a fiat-pegged cryptocurrency. So, do you guys see any problems with this? They are using a fiat-pegged cryptocurrency, which ultimately means, and the Modern Investor goes over this, that this system is no different than the current system we have today. The only thing that will be different is that instead of trying to convert fiat manually, they are going to be used a fiat-pegged cryptocurrency in order to make those transactions. So basically 6 of one, half dozen of another at their end. Brad Garlinghouse has already come out and suggested, well, why not just use fiat currency? Because Ripple has the interoperability to be able to use XRP as that backbone so that you don't even need the redundant stablecoin fiat that these guys are intending to use. Okay, so when you hear this in the news that it's going to be an XRP killer, guys, don't get scared. This is redundant. These guys are banking on the fears of their counterparts in order to crush cryptocurrency. They don't want crypto to have any part of their banking sector. They're really kind of scared, and so they're realizing that all the buzz, right? You know, Ripple's going to all these conferences, and they're realizing that the entire market is looking towards a better solution. The IMF is on board. Many different governments are legislating cryptocurrency, so they see that the writing is on the wall, and they have to react. So what they are doing is creating this, which in my opinion is kind of garbage technology. So according to the Wall Street Journal, the system drastically reduces the cost of international payments by eliminating third-party intermediaries, even though it seems Fnality sits in the middle of the transaction flow process. Well, that is exactly what is happening. They are putting themselves in the middle of this process where they don't kind of really need to be, okay? Ripple Technology, and I believe it was David Schwartz who mentioned this before, or no, rather, it wasn't David Schwartz, it was Bob Way. It was from his interview with Alex Cobb, and he said that Ripple's MO is to actually step further away from what they're doing as time goes on and be less involved rather than having to be present, babysitting the technology as time goes on. So these guys see that the writing is on the wall. These guys are realizing that, you know, big banks are in trouble if they want to stay relevant. So they're coming up with this, you know, they're posting it all over the news. They're getting lots of traction. They're getting investments, $63 million in funding to create this. But ultimately, guys, it's a bunch of garbage. And again, I suggest you watch the Modern Investor's video on this. He does talk about it at length for about 16 minutes. He's got some really good points. Just going to run over this article as well from MIT Technology, and it's about the same thing. A group of big banks plan to launch its own digital currency within a year. And so this is a bit of a different perspective. So the utility settlement coin has a boring name, but the project led by Swiss bank UBS is one of the most ambitious and most highly anticipated blockchain projects in the works, assuming it really uses a blockchain. I can already see this. These guys are kind of critical on this. The news, UBS and 13 other financial firms, including major banks in the US, Europe, and Japan, have created a new company to lead the digital currencies development, reports the Wall Street Journal. The firms have also collectively invested $63 million in the venture, which aims to let the banks settle cross-border trades faster and more cheaply. The project was first revealed in 2015. So guys, first of all, this has already been around for a while, but of course, Ripple has already beat them to the punch, already making this technology better than their current technology is today. So the token, a few technical details have been revealed, but the project supposedly involves building a blockchain-based digital currency. The Wall Street Journal describes the token as both a payment device and a messenger that carries all the information required to complete a trade. So Ripple already does that. It would be backed by bank-owned fiat currency held in central bank accounts. Rameos Ram, chief executive of the new company called Fnality International, told WSJ, Wall Street Journal, that he believes the currency will be fully operational within a year. So blockchain what? The companies in charge are working with blockchain startup called Clearmatics, and they say the utility settlement coin will be blockchain-based, but we don't really know what that means. It'll be blockchain based. You know, they're trying to use buzzwords in order to drum up interest, in order to say, hey, look guys, we're just the same as the other guys in the space, Ripple, except for we've got history behind us. So why not just use us to do what you were already doing and not use them? Well, the difference is just that. They are still using the exact same system, and ultimately they are only using a stable coin to do the same function, which defeats the purpose. Brad Garlinghouse even said in an interview a few months ago, you know, well, why not just use XRP as the bridge currency because it's interoperable and you can just use fiat? Why even use a stable coin USD? Basically what he's saying is with RippleNet, you don't need the stable coin in order for Ripple's system to work. These guys, you actually need to create a brand new coin, a stable coin, pegged to fiat in order for it to work. Kind of redundant and very ridiculous. And even the MIT Tech Review says we don't really know what that means. It seems that a blockchain or something like it will play a role, but in 2017, the Financial Times reported that it isn't really a blockchain project as much as the market infrastructure project. Besides, many purists would argue that a network controlled by and open only to banks is not really a blockchain anyway, no matter how blockchain-like its underlying technology may be. That is hitting the nail on the head. Blockchain is supposed to allow transparency for people to be able to see transactions across the board. If these guys want to be in the mix, they clearly want to be the middleman in order to keep controlling your finances, to control the system in order for you to continue to pay the fees that you're paying. Guys, this is an illusion. When you see the XRP-Killer, realistically, this is essentially, and the modern investor talks about this as well, this is not an XRP killer, guys. This is looking to kill cryptocurrency because banks are realizing governments are legislating it and they're getting really, really afraid. So they're trying to come up with their own kind of way in order to do business so as to try to thwart Ripple and companies like Ripple who are doing similar things. Part of this too, and I'm curious to know if these banks are tier 1 banks or tier 2 banks. From this interview here, guys, I'll link this video in the article as well. This was the Recode Decode interview that Brad Garlinghouse did with Kara Swisher. I posted this on May 24th, and he ultimately suggests that, you know, these big banks, they use, or rather, so the smaller banks, the tier 2 banks, are the ones that are really behind Ripple Tech because they have to rely on, tier 2 banks have to rely on tier 1 banks in order to get cross-border transactions completed. So I'm curious to know if these are a consortium of tier 1 banks who are looking to create this because they realize that the writing is on the wall and they realize that their money-making days are over. I have a feeling Swiss Bank UBS probably is one of those tier 1 banks. I'm not sure about the other ones. And so guys, when you are seeing articles like this, please do not get afraid. Realize that there is always stuff going on behind the scenes and reasons for moves like this. And this is not a cryptocurrency killer. We know that cryptocurrencies are being regulated. We know Ripple has been compliant every step of the way. We also know Ripple already has 200 partnerships with banks, and we know that XRapid is going to be using XRP as that backbone currency. A few other things we know is that members of Ripple are on the board at high-level organizations such as the World Bank and the IMF. So guys, this is just damage control on behalf of organizations that realize the writing is on the wall. They need something to protect their profits, but Ripple is so many steps ahead at this point, and I have a feeling we're in really good hands. Anyways, that's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.